Hey everyone, my name is D Happy Cohen. I'm the founder of Joy Based Living, and here we are for our series called Worthiness Matters. And if you've been following, you know that I have been answering a list of 15 questions that a young man wrote for me to answer for this live stream. And the idea behind each practice, it's a joy-based spirituality practice, and the idea behind each question is to practice tuning into your embodiment, tuning into your feelings, maybe placing the question off to the side and then coming back to it, listening to the body. So when I read the question out loud, I want you to listen to your body. I want you to listen to your heart. I want you to notice what you feel on the inside. And maybe you have clarity for an answer. Maybe you don't. Don't worry about it. Whatever comes up is okay. Maybe nothing comes up. That's okay too. Just notice what comes up. And then I will share my thoughts about it. And by the way, those of you who've been sending me your comments, thank you so much. I really, really love reading them and responding. And if you have any questions or thoughts or your own ideas about answering some of these, please share. So, the question for today is, how do I know when I have arrived in worthiness? That is a phenomenal question. How do I know? How do you know when you've arrived in worthiness? Tune into your body. How do you know when you've arrived in worthiness? Well, for me, worthiness simply means being comfortable with my own sense of honesty with myself. When I'm with somebody who's being honest with themselves, I feel it in their body. I feel more comfortable. I feel my body responding to theirs with less defenses. I want you to imagine, and just with more openness and wanting to connect with them more because they're coming from a place of authenticity. I want you to imagine that there is a beautiful radiant light inside of each person and living being, which I do believe that there is. And I want you to imagine that every single defense we have, because maybe we don't want to feel something, we don't want to feel anger, we don't want to feel shame, we don't want to feel too much joy, we don't want to feel something, is like putting up a block to that light from streaming through. That light is the love that we are. It's the love that is our very nature. That is why this is joy-based spirituality. A lot of times I talk about little puppies or infants, and how with puppies and with infants, we don't question their value. We don't question their worthiness. And so what we want to do in these practices is tune into ourselves and ask ourselves and ask yourself, do you allow the truth of your own being to shine through? Not that you need to tell everybody what you're thinking or feeling or vibing at any given moment, but that you're honest with yourself. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of stories of things that are of people that are in my life. And one of them, um, many people who are in joy-based living, not everyone, but a majority of people are healing trauma, are healing emotional trauma. And so they've turned to the ebook that we have called Sanctuary, um, 4 mantras for thriving after emotional trauma, which most of the world has had in the last couple of years now. So it's making the conversation a little bit more public, more safe, which is really good because you can't heal it if you don't see it. Um, and so when you're healing from emotional trauma, two emotions have to be faced and they have to be allowed to come through. One of those emotions is sadness, and the other of those emotions is anger. So one person I know who's healing from this had a very, very rough time a couple years ago, went through a tremendous amount of sadness, did a lot of inner homework. And this is somebody who likes being professional and positive and kind and gracious, and she's just a sweet, wonderful, kind person. Well, the funny story is that recently, a couple of weeks ago, she decided to take this class on helping her sleep better, which had everything to do with reducing or eliminating the amount of coffee that you drink every day. So, because we talk on a regular basis, there were a couple times we were going to talk in the last week, and she's like, I don't think we should talk. I'm feeling crabby today. And after the second time it happened, I just started. The first time I was like, oh my God, really? Like, okay, she's taking this class. Oh, got to deal with crabbiness. Okay, so she's going through that. That's okay. So, and so the second time it happened, I was like, I totally get it. I totally get it. And I shared it with her and I said, you dealt with the sadness from healing, but you didn't really heal. You didn't really face the anger that's been inside of you, that's been stored up in there. And that's the idea: is you don't want to store this stuff. You just want to like let it free. And then the you can show through. So I said, I think what's happening is you now have an excuse to be really angry. I said, some people go to South America and hire a shaman for a few $1,000s and yell at the edge of a cliff with a bunch of other people to get their anger out. I'm like, you're just like, she's like, oh my God, all these memories are coming up and blah, 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 blah. And I'm done with this one, but I don't think I'm done with that one yet. I was like, you go, girl. And to me, that was an act of worthiness. And I said to her, so that she would feel from someone else that she's being witnessed and loved and experienced for who she is. I said, I want you to know I love you just as much as in your anger as I do as when you're not angry. And she's like, really? Like, you could tell she got a little quiet. I was like, this is so good. This has been like stored inside of you. And so anytime that you're accepting a feeling that you've been resisting, that is an act of worthiness. Um, Another person was asking me about, oh, she's making some decisions in her life, and she has a tendency to, in response to life's challenges, she has a tendency to make herself really big or make herself really small. Now, this person is somebody who's done a lot of healing from trauma, but part of what happens when you live with people who are traumatizing you, and even within our culture, because our culture teaches us that we should be perfect in order to be accepted. And so we make ourselves bigger or smaller rather than accepting ourselves for who we are. So I want to ask you this question. If you were a fish and you were swimming a lot, like you were just a swimmy fish, a very, very, very swimmy, some fish are very relaxed and chill, and some fish are very swimmy fish. And I said, what's your personality like? And you said to me, well, I'm very action oriented. I'm a very swimmy fish. I like just swimming, 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 swimming as fast as I can. And then I come to find out that you have spent a lifetime being chased by sharks. Now the question is the action oriented swimmy fish, fast running fish, the real you? Now, what if I move you and say, hey, come to this area here, this inlet where there aren't any sharks, and all of a sudden there's just coral and you can hang out. And it was weird to get used to it at first, but you did. And all of a sudden you realized there were things to look at, and you were excited and delighted, and you were having fun, and you were meeting other fish, and you were doing things. And a couple years later, I said to you, hey, so what's your personality like? And you said, oh, I like hanging out with the coral and the other fish. So you're like a different kind of person. Now, which one is more authentic? The one who's being chased all the time, or the one who is not in survival mode? See where I'm going here? When you can be comfortable with yourself, when you can just be who you are without trying to be bigger or smaller, without trying to be really reactive and going, I'm going to be, somebody else said to me, I'm going to create this really, really, really great career. And I said to her, is that in response to you being told for so many years, you're small, you're small, you're small, and you're nothing and you're stupid? Or is that because it's who you really are? And so if you don't know who you really are, it's going to take some time to get to know you. And the quickest way in there is to go, what am I feeling? I bring up the feeling chart like almost every day, all throughout the day. What am I feeling right now? What am I feeling right now? What is it I need? What is it I want? What is it I'm drawn to when I'm not feeling stressed? And letting those curiosities evolve, because the truth of the matter is, you're going to feel happiest when you are joyfully engaging with your curiosities. And so I'm going to ask the question again now. I'm going to read this question again. How do I know when I have arrived in worthiness? You know that you've arrived in worthiness when you're comfortable in your own skin, expressing yourself as who you are, when you are not sacrificing the true you at the altar of the false you, when you're not sacrificing the true you for what other people want so that you can get what you need from them, whether it's approval or whatever it is you're looking for. So my greatest wish for you is for you to be true to your heart, true to your soul. My greatest wish for you is your happiness. And I don't know a way to experience joy and not be true to you. And so my wish for you is joy. So thank you for being here with me on this journey. If you want to participate, I'm going to make this public, but if you want to participate in asking questions in these live streams, just sign up at Patreon and subscribe to my channel at Patreon, and that is patreon.com/joy-based living. And thank you, all of you, for being here with me on this journey. We're making the world a better place, one tiny ripple at a time. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.